Hello there, welcome back. It's been a minute since I have filmed a video here on my YouTube channel, and that is just because honestly the last quarter has been really stressful and really crazy in a lot of good ways. My company is rebranding, we've taken on new clients, we have new team members. I've just been so busy that I've been focusing more on TikTok and Instagram, which is a mistake, and I'm gonna own that. TikTok and Instagram feel efficient because you do get inquiries. Inquiries? Why does that sound so weird to me right now? And for the right brands, they make sense. And I think it's a way to get easy exposure, which is something that, I was focusing on a lot in Q2 and Q3, was getting more eyeballs and getting more people in the door for me to nurture. And to a degree that worked. Like, I got clients off of social media and I love them. They're even what I would call dream clients. But I haven't been positioning myself on the channels that I want to be for longevity. And those channels would be an email newsletter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, which are for the B2B people, for the professionals, for people who are a little bit more serious about wanting to educate and learn. And I'm not saying that TikTok and Instagram are not important. They're also going to stay pillars of my strategy, but I do recognize that I need to figure out how to be on all of these channels without burning myself out. So we're back, and there will still be the day in the life content because that is what I got the most overwhelming response to. So this content will eventually be posted over on the brand account, and I will create a post introducing that when it is time, and then this account will stay more behind the scenes business owner, more of that day in the life stuff. But I still want to, make sure that I'm talking about my job and what I do in marketing my business in an ethical, smart, and helpful way. So that brings me to my first video back. So it's October 7th when I'm filming this, and we're talking about your marketing operations rules for October. And before we even jump in, I want to, dial it back a bit here and reroute ourselves. So if it's been a while since you've watched, or it's your first time watching, hello, my name is Erica. I am living in Charleston, South Carolina. I actually moved since my last video. I have a dog and a cat who frequently appear in my videos. And I own a marketing operations and strategy firm that is now being rebranded. This is new to everybody, to the 128 Collective. So we're undergoing a whole rebrand throughout Q4 here. I've been documenting it over on TikTok and Instagram. And it's, like I said, been crazy busy. But essentially, we help companies get their marketing operations in place. Our whole thing is that we don't just run your marketing, but we actually make it work. Because there's so many companies that have marketing right now. They're doing things, they're putting it out there, they're putting all this work in. It's really not going anywhere because they don't have the processes or the strategy behind it to make it successful. So that's where we come in. I'm also realizing how weak my voice is and how horrible I am at long form. So I'm using this as an opportunity to work on that as well, to set me up for, speaking engagements down the road. So back to today's topic, rules for October, marketing ops edition. I did put a short form version of this on Instagram or TikTok. If you prefer that, I'll link it below. But we have more time here. This platform is meant for long form. So we're going to dive into each of the different bullet points on my list here. But essentially, this is all about Q4, right? Like, Q4 is go time for almost everybody. I hear of very few companies pulling back in Q4. I think once you hit like December 15th, a lot of people pull back and take time off. But this is like the big selling season. Most everybody will make a little bit more money in Q4, and if they're not making more money, they're just going to have more eyeballs or more leads or more inquiries. Why is that so hard for me to say today? And something that, as a marketing operations professional, I want to remind you of is that being busy does not mean you're being strategic. So that's where all these rules come into play here, is that you can't just throw a bunch of effort at something and expect that the chaos will solve itself. More often than not, businesses make big mistakes in Q4. One of two things typically. Either they bring on so much business that they don't have the systems to support that and they cannot support the work, so they fall apart. They ruin their retention, they have a high churn rate, whatever. Or two, they gain these new people and they're doing good, but they aren't set up for longevity with these clients, so these clients taper off by Q2 of the following year, or Q3 of the following year, or even during Q1. So what I really want to help you do is set yourself up for success so you can have an incredible Q4, but but you can also use that and leverage that as momentum into next year that carries on and can sustain itself. So let's dive into my list because we have 8 rules to review. The first one is that Christmas started 30 days ago. And like, really, Christmas started in July for marketers, right? Depending on, you know, what you're selling. If you're a product-based business, you're probably really caring about Christmas. But for the rest of us, it's more like Q4 started 30 days ago. And what I mean by this is that if Q4 is a season that you expect to bring in a lot of money, you shouldn't be creating that Q4 strategy in Q4 or at the end of Q3. In an ideal world, you would have started sketching it in July and it would be fully baked by, you know, early September, and you would be prepping to execute starting on October 1 or even end of September. It's not always realistic for everybody. And obviously, you're probably like, Erica, this is so unhelpful because it's October 7th, or I don't know what day it will be when you're watching this, but we're kind of late to the game now. What do we do? And to that, I want to say it's never too late. Like, you're not going to have time now to create this huge execution strategy. Instead, I would tell you to be more strategic with what you have. So start paying attention to the data that you do have. And if you have zero data, do some competitive research, figure out who your competitors are, and leverage their data that you have available to you to make different tweaks and pivots throughout Q4. Be smart with your budget. Like, if you are throwing thousands of dollars at ads and you're not getting ROI, cut the ads and switch to organic, switch to grassroots, figure out, do things a little bit differently and be smarter with your money. So you're not just like throwing all of your weight, all of your budget at something that's not working, if that makes sense. So if you're behind, yeah, like make a note for next year, but also realize that it's not the end all be all. You're going to be fine. Just be more strategic with what you have is the rule here. So, all right, rule number 2 and 3 kind of go together. The first one is no new tool purchases without a sunset plan for the current tools. And 2 is no new hires without full clarity. So all of this comes back to clarity. You don't want to put out more money or bring more chaos in without knowing or having a really good idea of what you're working with. So for the tools, let's say like in Q4, it's budget season, right? So people are planning to hire more people. They're planning to buy new tools. They're dreaming. They're like really having fun with the vision for next year. So let's say that you are really obsessed with AEO, which is answer engine optimization. It used to be SEO. Now it's all about the AEO. And let's say that you want to buy, like, I don't even know if SEMrush has a tool for it yet. I'm sure that they do. Maybe they add like an add-on to their package and it's like $2,000 more a month. And you're like, we're totally buying that. I would stop you there. And I would first tell you, have you tried, like, how is your SEO now? Like, is your SEO even good as it is? Are you even using SEMrush for its SEO capabilities? And if you are, is it actually showing you return? Because if it's not, I would not recommend buying the AEO version of that. Instead, I would recommend rewriting most of your content, most of your pages to align with basic organic AEO practices. Start there, benchmark your results, wait 3 months, and then pull the trigger on that piece of technology. So that's one example. But you wouldn't be sunsetting a tool there. Although, honestly, maybe there's a cheaper AEO tool out there, or maybe you buy the paid version of ChatGPT so you can prompt what you think you would want to create content on, and you review and you see like what other people are doing, and then you don't copy or duplicate, but you adjust your content accordingly. So let's say you're gonna start paying $20, I think it's $30 a month for ChatGPT Plus. So now you need a plan to sunset SEMrush. So when is it going to be gone? What is the roll-off plan? What data exists on SEMrush that you need to save? What will no longer be available to you? How should your marketing reporting process change as a result of this? So you want to make sure that that is a well-laid plan. And then the hires piece, this is something every business is guilty of, just like hiring in hopes that the new hire is going to be a magic wand. They're not going to be. They're never going to be. It's a ridiculous expectation. Throw that expectation out the window. So if you want to have a new hire, I want you to have that job description fully baked. And then I want you to have a full vision of what you want their first 6 months to look like. what you want them to be working on, what results you want from them, where they're going to be working, how they're going to be working, who they're going to be working with, how they'll be contributing to the business's bottom line. If you can't answer these questions, do not hire. You are literally going to be wasting money, increase the turnover rate on your team, which is never good for anybody. So keep that in mind. Okay, rule number 4. This is going to be a hot take for some probably, but I think a lot of people need to hear it. AI is not a silver bullet. It is very bubbly right now, AI is, and I need everybody to just relax because it's not the silver bullet that everybody thinks it is. AI models, for the most part, what people are using are language learning models or LLMs. And as of right now, this could potentially change in the future, but those models are only as smart as the human who's training it. And I think a lot of businesses are overlooking that fact and think, they plug in the LLM, so to speak. They ask it and it immediately provides value. And they're like, wow, that did something for me that, my employees couldn't do for me in a week. So it feels really valuable. And it's like, okay, for sure. There are limitations. We'll leave it at that. There are definitely limitations to these models. And yes, they're going to give you immediate value. So you're going to think they are this incredible investment. Do not replace your teammates with AI yet. AI is not a silver bullet. It is not going to solve all of your problems. It's going to provide some surface level immediate value for you. Absolutely, for sure. It cannot replace your people. Not yet. Rule number 5, meetings get agendas or meetings get canceled. We're not having meetings just to have meetings in Q4. In the busy season, we don't have time for that. And hopefully this will set you up for that sustainable practice to move through 2026. If you don't have a desired outcome or desired output from a meeting, why are you having it? I'm going to give you an example. One of my clients was like, I need you to set up this meeting. It needs to happen ASAP with this person, this person, this person. And I'm like, okay, it's a highly technical meeting. I'm operations. I'm project management. So I reach out to one of the stakeholders who's technical and I'm asking him some questions. And I'm like, okay, so this is a meeting to just align 3 people. Yep. Okay, cool. Do we expect pushback from them? Nope. Okay, cool. So we're going there to tell them our plan that is not ready to be executed yet, still needs to have discovery work done on it. They're going to give us a thumbs up and we're going to be like, cool, peace. And he says, yep. That meeting can be an email. There is no output for that meeting except for alignment, and alignment can be achieved through an email unless you expect there to be a dozen questions. But I would still recommend starting with the email and then scheduling a follow-up so everybody can digest the information. Take that for what it's worth. But if meetings don't get agendas for me in Q4, I'm canceling them. Obviously, I will attend meetings if they don't have, if they're from others and they don't have agendas. But I will definitely be reaching out and being like, hey, what do you need me to bring to this meeting? What are you thinking we're going to be walking away from this meeting with? I want to make sure I'm prepared, doing it in a polite way, but also nudging them to be like, what's the point of this? Okay. Rule number 6, we're ghosting bad leads. In Q4, we don't have time to go after those leads that we know aren't going to close. If it's somebody that you think would be cool to connect with and cool to chat with, 100% send it. Let's do it. You have to understand what's a good lead versus a bad lead for you. And for that, you need some type of lead scoring or lead prioritization framework. That's something that another aspect of ops that we help out with. So I know exactly who I'm ready for as a business to take on as a lead. So for example, if Google came to me, I would 100% talk to them. I know they're not going to close with me. If they did, they would make my life a living hell because I'm a small agency, right? I don't have all the sway and the power or the processes or the systems to sustain a client like that yet. I will just own that off the bat. Now, if a business within my ideal client range came to me, of course I'm going to spend more time on that. I wouldn't ghost Google. I wouldn't ghost a business that's making under 10K MRR. Basically, I don't work with people if they're not making more than $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue, simply because I think that's unethical of me to think that they're ready to invest in something like this, when at that point, scrappy operations actually probably will get them to 10K MRR. And I can help them with free resources. So I'm never going to fully ghost, but I'm not going to be spending all of my sales time on bad leads. I'm going to be focusing on the good leads, nurturing them and growing that list learning from that data, figuring out how to repeat that and go find more people like that. Rule number 7 is a habit that we're gonna create, and that's we're gonna block 1 hour of our day to carve out some cleanup time on Fridays. We're gonna go through our inbox, we're gonna go through our to-dos, we're gonna make sure that our employees feel supported, we're gonna make sure that all of our progress reports for our projects have been sent out. We're just gonna do some housekeeping, some cleaning up, so we can go into the weekend with a calm mind, we're feeling good, everything's in a great spot. And if you can do this all throughout Q4, I guarantee you that habit will cement itself for next year, and you will see an immense difference in how you start your Mondays. And the final rule, number 8, focus is a strategy, not a luxury. I talk about this a lot on my short form accounts, but focus is undervalued in the world of business. If you can get everybody focusing on the same goals and the same things, you are going to get there 10 times faster than when your focus is scattered across many things. And now this is a little hypocritical of me because as a business owner, our focus is always scattered. But when you're in Q4, if you can pick like 2 primary objectives, and of course there's going to be all the noise around it, but have those be like your guiding light. And so every single time it's like, okay, what's the most important thing I have to do today? I need to work on things that move me towards my objectives. Okay, and then I also have these other 45 things I need to do, but first and foremost, I need to focus on my primary objectives. So keep that in mind and try to remember focus is not just a want, but an absolute need and must in Q4, and hopefully that will set you up for a stronger 2026 as well. So those are all of my marketing operations rules for October. I think these even go outside of marketing as well, but that's just how an operational mind thinks. So if I forgot anything or if you want to add anything to this, I would love to hear it in the comments below. And yeah, hopefully I can get back in the groove of posting here on YouTube and making this longer form content, delivering value, showing the education that I'm learning both in the classroom and in the real world and online networking with other people. So if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Give the video a thumbs up. It helps it get out to more people, or share it with somebody in your network who you think could really benefit from implementing these rules in either their business or their leadership style. And with that, I'm going to sign off. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.